From Zakhm to Shifa, the spell is ours to cast. Assalamu alaikum, beautiful souls, and welcome back to From Zakhm to Shifa, our sacred space where wounds transform into wisdom, where silence breaks into song, and where fear becomes the very ground from which courage grows. I am your sister on this journey of healing, and today I want to share something that shook me to my core. Something that made me question not just what I believe, but how I live those beliefs. This is an episode about awakening, not just a spiritual awakening, but the awakening of our responsibility, our voice, our power that we've been waiting for someone else to give us permission to use. The title comes from a truth that's been whispering to my heart. The spell is ours to cast. We are not under anyone else's enchantment of powerlessness. We hold the magic we always have. The gathering that changed everything. A few nights ago, I attended a gathering that I knew would challenge me. From silence to power, stories of resistance. But I wasn't prepared for how deeply it would reach into my soul and pull out truths I had been avoiding. Voices like Sami Hamdi and Sean King stood before us, not as distant heroes, but as ordinary humans who had made extraordinary choices. They spoke about resistance, and let me tell you, they did not paint it in the colors of glory that we sometimes imagine. They spoke about boycotts that cost them business relationships, about backlash that followed them home, about those 3 a.m. moments when fear whispers, "You've gone too far this time." And yet, they continued. The path of standing for what's right was never meant to be easy. History shows us that those who came before us faced trials, and so will we. But here's what struck me most deeply. During the question and answer session, someone in the audience with genuine sincerity asked, "Why don't you lead us? Tell us what to do." And in that moment, I felt something crack open in my chest, a recognition so sharp it almost hurt. The mirror of waiting. Why are we always waiting for someone else to tell us what to do? It reminded me of that scene in Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, when Harry's waiting for his father to appear and save him from the Dementors. He's so sure someone else will come. He waits and waits, but no one comes. Then the realization hits him like lightning. It was him all along. He was the one he was waiting for. He was the one who had to cast the spell. My dear friends, how many of us are living in that moment of waiting? Waiting for the perfect leader, the perfect moment, the perfect plan, perfect level of courage that never seems to arrive. Change begins within us. Justice begins with our choices. Resistance begins with our decision to stop waiting for permission to care, to speak, to act. In the Quran, Allah tells us, "Indeed, Allah will not change the condition of a people until they change what is in themselves." Change starts with us, in our hearts, in our choices, in our willingness to act despite our fear. We have voices, we have choices, we have power. The question is, which one will we choose to use? The comfort that became our cage. Our parents, may they be blessed, they struggled in ways we can barely imagine. They worked multiple jobs, they sacrificed their comfort, sometimes their dreams, so that we could have safety, education, and opportunities. And we are grateful for their sacrifices, but somewhere along the way, we got too comfortable, too quiet, too afraid of losing what they worked so hard to give us. But what if? What if their sacrifice wasn't meant to make us silent, but to give us the platform from which to speak? And I'm realizing that if we stay silent, if we choose comfort over conscience, we might raise another generation that doesn't know how to speak, that doesn't know where it comes from, that forgets its responsibility to stand for justice. We have hands, we have tongues, we have hearts, we have the power to create change. The question is, which one will we choose to use? The ordinary heroes among us. Here's what I learned from watching Sammy and Sean and others who've chosen to speak. They're not superheroes. They don't have special powers that we lack, and they're not fearless. They're just human beings who decided that their fear did not get to make their choices for them. History shows us that small actions by ordinary people create extraordinary impact. Support the weak, not because it's trending, but because justice is a core human value. Speak up, even if your voice shakes, especially then. Donate, even if it's just a few dollars. It's your stand for righteousness. Boycott, even if it's inconvenient. Let your money speak your values. Educate, learn the history, understand the context, share the truth. When people throughout history stood up against injustice, they could have chosen safety. They could have stayed silent. Instead, they kept declaring their truth, even when it cost them everything. Their resistance wasn't loud, it wasn't glamorous, but it was unshakable. Casting your own spell. My dears, the spell is ours to cast, not the spell of magic and fantasy, but the spell of transformation, the decision to stop being enchanted by our own powerlessness. Every time you choose truth over comfort, you cast a spell of courage. Every time you speak when it would be easier to stay silent, you cast a spell of justice. Every time you act despite your fear, you cast a spell of hope for the next generation. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, taught us that even if the world were ending tomorrow, we should still plant a tree today. Plant it anyway. Act anyway. Speak anyway. The ripple effect of individual action. Think about the movements that changed the world. They didn't start with massive organizations or perfect plans. They started with individuals who decided they couldn't stay silent anymore. Rosa Parks wasn't planning to spark the Montgomery bus boycott when she refused to give up her seat. She was just tired of injustice, tired of accepting what was unacceptable. Your individual actions matters more than you know. When you speak up in your family dinner conversation, you plant seeds. When you choose where to spend your money based on your values, you vote with your wallet. When you share accurate information instead of staying silent, you combat ignorance. You don't need millions of followers. You don't need platform. You need courage. And you already have that inside you. And that is my reflection today. We are not powerless. We are not waiting for someone else's permission. We are not too small, too young, too afraid, or too comfortable to matter. We are exactly who this moment needs us to be. Action, conscious, intentional, values-driven action is the bridge between fear and freedom, between silence and injustice. So before I leave you, I welcome you to ask yourselves, what is one small action I've been waiting for permission to take? What would change if I give myself that permission today and trusted that my voice, even if it shakes, is exactly what this moment needs? This is from Zakhm to Shifa. Until we meet again in the space of transformation, remember, the spell was always yours to cast. Until next time, Barakallahu fi. Wassalamu alaikum.